man, we are back full bench. Everybody is in the starting lineup today. No flex spots. Everybody's where they're supposed to be. Welcome to That Helps No One Fantasy Cast on Area 51 Sports Network. I think we got like a new logo up in the corner. Is that right? I should probably know how this works. It looks like they updated it. We got a new logo.
Oh, yeah. Is it? There you go.
That's kind of cool. Very minimalistic. I love it. Beam me up to week 9. See what I did there? That was a Star Trek reference for all.
Nailed it.
Star Trek,
which probably was filmed in L.A., which is the same hat as Ted is wearing, home of the Dodgers, who is a baseball team. Ted, how you doing?
It's getting out of hand right now, but yeah, doing good.
Was it like 6-4 Yankees?
It's like 10-4 Yankees now.
Oh, good, buddy.
Oh, it was literally 7-4 before we went. Ted came to the show about 3 minutes ago, and it was 7-4. So
yeah, it was 6-4 when I sat down.
Ted's the Drake of
you
our
are
show.
Literally, in fact, the Drake of, or Justice Bieber, as Matt likes to call him.
He always demands justice. Steve, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm good. We had a little tooth incident. So if at some point
We get it.
the little man comes running in screaming bloody murder, there's quite a bit of blood, and he'll probably come running and show me his tooth.
Well, that's awesome.
What's the tooth fairy bring in your household?
You know what? Me and the tooth fairy aren't close, so that one's mom's on speed dial with the tooth fairy. And if any of you try to propose a high price on that, we're not friends, and I quit the show. So.
I'm pretty sure my kids told your kids it was $10.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'm going to say $7 is the going rate around. That's what I've heard.
$7.
$7.
Wow. The tooth fairy stopped coming to our place because they were losing too much. And she's just like, I can't keep doing this. This is too much. So, yeah, it was a good thing. Matt, how are you doing today?
Great.
Our good friend Matt, he had quite the venturing outing on this past weekend. Matt, why don't you tell the viewers where you were?
Well, I took a trip with the 12 North NFL Canada bus from beautiful Kelowna, British Columbia, to Seattle to go watch a Seahawks game. But rather than just watching the game, we actually got to bring the Canadian and American flags out onto the field. Got to go down in the end zone for pregame, and then got to go on the field after the game was done.
That's wild.
And it was very, very cool. Terrible game. Extremely cool experience.
Are you disappointed because your Seahawks lost?
Yes. I was still mad that my Vikings lost on Thursday. But yes, I was hoping for everybody else's sake. Although I got to be honest, there probably 40% of the stadium was Bills fans. It was shocking how many Bills fans there were.
Were you rocking a Seahawks jersey?
No, I just wore a sports guy.
Did you show up Seattle Justice Bieber?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's cool.
My shirt just said sports balls.
You should have.
It's like the NFL logo.
Yeah. What? Oh yeah.
Like Rob McElhenney.
Yeah.
No, it's Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe as well. Yeah.
Obviously. So being on the field and like seeing the flyover and the flags and everything, like, I mean, we've all been to NFL games, but like, how different is it when you're like involved like that?
The most. I think if I had just been holding the flag and soaking it in, it would even be a different experience because I was shooting. I was like working in a sense,
So
which
Matt
on its own was like on my Mount Rushmore of achievements in life to shoot in an NFL game, like with an NFL media contract. But yeah, I was telling Stephen Ryan before this, Ted, that I felt proud to be American when the choppers were going over the field, and I have no American in me. I was like, man, no wonder these folks are so patriotic, because holy smokes, does that hype you up. I got tired when I finally sat down when the adrenaline kicked up. Oh, it was.
Did they let you keep the flag?
We didn't get to keep the flag. It didn't fit in the bus, but I did keep my media pass.
That's cool.
And the Seahawks staff store thought I was an employee, so I got 30% off my purchase.
Hey.
Well,
You get 30% off, but it's all on Seahawks gear.
You've been telling us you've been looking to get a DK Metcalf jersey, so hopefully you made that purchase.
My eye on a Cortez Kennedy jersey, actually. That is, yeah, I would 100% wear.
Excellent. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. The rest of us just watched games in our dry homes while you were getting poured rain on, I'm sure.
We were covered, actually. We're up in the upper corner, so we stayed dry pretty much all the time.
Wasn't it actually like a really nice game though? I thought it was like sunshine and
It was off and on. It's second half poured. Actually, right at halftime, because they did a BMX expo at halftime, and these guys just slipping down the track doing backflips on a foamy thing. I felt bad.
As you would. Get some housekeeping out of the way. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter and our YouTube channel. Join the chat as well if you have any fantasy football questions or just general questions. Maybe you want to ask Matt who his favorite football player is. We probably talked about before, but
Stephon Diggs.
Oh, let's not go there yet. Feel free to ask us a question. We'll be here for you, and we'd love to answer some lineup questions, folks. It was National Tight End Day on Sunday, and did you guys see the parlay that one guy hit? It was like a $10. Was it $10? Yeah, and he turned it into was it like $100,000 or something like that?
Can you imagine?
Yeah. Like it was 8 or 10 different tight ends score a touchdown and nailed all of them.
Like just absolutely dummied that. I mean, wow. Well, it was the right day to do it, but I think like tight ends were like all over the score sheet this past weekend.
In my 4-sport league that I'm in, right before, I want to say it was I think it was before Thursday's game because I think that was included on it. He tagged all of the boys in there and he said, give me one parlay that's going to hit and I will put the money down. And so I think he bet like $7-9 or something like that.
Yeah.
He had a $35,000 payout going. And I was like, whoever misses this needs to be severely punished in the league. Like, what kind of draft pick are you losing if you are losing this guy his chance at 35,000? So my pick was, what did I pick? Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb on the over rushing yards because, well, yeah. And I hit it. So I did my part. I think he lost by 2 of the picks. So he made 10 of the 12.
That's crazy.
It's tough.
I still have so many questions about that 4-sport league. Like, we talk about it and then we go away from the conversation, and then like days later I think of like 3 or 4 more questions that I need to ask you.
Ted, would you like to ask a question?
And I probably have none of like, in all honesty, I probably have exactly 0 answers to it because it's so messy, and that's what makes it so much fun.
Okay, like real simple one. Like, when does the season end?
After technically when hockey's done, the season's done, right? So it starts in baseball. Baseball's the start of it, but obviously hockey and basketball are still going on. So you're kind of like starting a new league-ish while one's finishing up, kind of idea. But it's usually starting in baseball, draft football, draft hockey, draft basketball.
So you don't get much downtime. It's like basically you're playing almost year-round.
Yeah, there's a reason why it's called the No Lifers League. Because, I literally feel like sometimes I have no life. I'm like, oh my gosh, which person is over here? And you're trying to like find a sneaky ad of a basketball player. And I'm like, I haven't watched a full basketball game in, 20 years now. So.
And you just accumulate wins and losses between both, like all leagues, essentially?
Yeah, each league is separate. And so like you get points on your finish from each league, and then it's like a total, but there's individual prizes for the winners of each individual league, and then one big payout for the overall winner of the whole thing. And then the winner has to make like some hilarious video to shame the rest of us and tell us how great they are.
And one more question: how is this person tracking trades that happen between 4 separate leagues?
Just Google Doc, Google Sheets, where it's just like, this is what was traded. So there's a thing for the trade tracker, and there's a thing for, draft picks that are still there. And then there's, keeper spots and stuff like that. Once it's good, it gets organized. It's pretty easy to do all that stuff. You just need people that are willing to take on each sport kind of thing. So,
okay. Is it a different app for each sport, or is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. And can you are they run as separate sports though?
Yep.
or is it all like joined together somehow? Or
No, it's like they're run as separate sports. So like our football one would essentially be the football one.
Mhm.
And, obviously it's on Yahoo. So on Yahoo, you'll have like a baseball. So if I trade, Ted's wearing an LA hat there. If I trade Mookie Betts for, DK Metcalf and an NHL first round pick, I don't know, I'm just making that off the top of my head. The commissioners who have the powers in those leagues would literally just go manually drop that player, add it to the next person's, and then like they track the picks going forward after that.
so there's a little bit of work for the people that are in charge, obviously.
Yeah, it's pretty minimal because we all announce trades. People have access to the docs, so you'll put it in a trade tracker and you'll swap the pick kind of thing. And
yeah, you almost have to have separate GMs for each league, right?
Yeah, because that's a lot of work for one person, right? Yeah,
no doubt.
It's hard enough running this show, so I can't even imagine that it's crazy. I would. We should just follow Steve around for a season of all of this. Just have a GoPro.
next on Netflix.
Yeah, it's probably going to be super exciting.
Quarterback, it's like fantasy sportser.
Yeah, I think like a few people would watch it. A few people watched the Cleveland-Baltimore game, and that made things difficult in our group chat here because there are different party lines on this one. We've got Ted with the Browns. We've got Steve with the Ravens. It was upsetting on how that finished for a lot. I mean, you don't even have to have skin in the game. That face mask, I'm sorry, that's a call. And the fact that there is the back judge is right there. I mean, the Chiefs were like, "Oh, can we have this crew? Can we have this crew next week?"
Talking about the Vikings game.
Yeah, I think we're talking about two different games.
Sorry, I was talking about the Vikings game. I apologize.
That was a sham.
And Browns in that quick 10-second blurb there.
Sorry, I kind of screwed that up. I apologize. So yeah, the Vikings, that was that one. But the Baltimore Cleveland game.
Was that a face mask even though?
We're going back to the Vikings. That was we're gonna say it was
nearly decapitated. He's gone. Matt's head fell off from that face
like
mask. There you go.
Yeah.
You know what? It seems like every week or every other week, there's a game where because so many games come down to the last play or the last drive, there's so much emphasis on missed calls. But, you review a tape from that game or any other game and you're like, oh, they missed a face mask call in the, end of the second quarter that people were choked about, but they kind of just casually forget about it because it wasn't the call at the end of the game, especially on a Thursday night football when everyone's watching the same game. It's not like, did you see the Ravens in Cleveland game? It's like, no, I was actually watching this other game. Everyone's watching that game because, that week there's only one Thursday night game going on. So it just like, it magnifies it so much. But yeah, obviously a huge missed call.
I think the fact that it was a scoring play, it was a deciding scoring play, and it was in the end zone. And like, it's one thing, like you're right. If it was like end of the second quarter or something, but like there was a lot riding on that one play and it did change the game. And
for me, it was more the fact that like his head almost fell off.
Yeah, there's only one move in football that makes a quarterback's head go backwards. Like no tackle ever does that. It is as soon as you see his head go backwards, it's face masks.
But I think the thing is like,
automatic.
They were talking about reviewing a scoring play, like every scoring play gets reviewed, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if you don't see the penalty the first time, you're like, oh, geez, like, do we call that a touchdown? Like, well, it was a touchdown. Like, but what about when his head goes the other way, like Beetlejuice? Like, no, it's a touchdown. Like,
it also is a scoring play because it's a safety.
Yeah. So anyway,
but the whole point is that you can't review it for like a missed call on that, and people are like,
yeah,
but New York has this like replay assist that they're calling down for different things. It's like, oh, he didn't actually get his other foot in. Like they're literally in their ears. It would have
happened in the Cleveland-Baltimore game.
Yeah,
that's right.
That was the game I was trying to talk about, and I got them mixed up. Apologies.
And you know what? Like for the extra 5 seconds that it might slow the game down, or oh, heaven forbid, 60 seconds that it slows the game down, when they're like, "Hey, Bob, Darnold's head almost fell off. You gotta call it." Like it's not like it's like a ticky-tacky kind of play, and it's like, you know what? He grazed his face mask kind of thing. It's like, no, he really ripped it off. The problem with that is, where do you draw the line? Like, what is too much to call? What's not enough to call? How much do you want to slow the game down? But there's got to be some level of common sense with that, where we're like, everybody saw it, bud. Like,
Or like the George Pickens double tap with one foot, but not both feet.
Yeah.
Like, well, he landed 2 feet technically. It just was the same one twice. Like, they're going into that much detail on that stuff, and yet you can't. Anyway, interesting way that game finished. But I'm sure not everyone had Cleveland winning that one, because I definitely did not. But what can you do? Rodgers is also not the problem in New York. Turns out it's just the Jets that suck as a whole. He's going on another darkness retreat. Did you guys hear about this? Aaron Rodgers is going to check out.
Maybe it's just from the pressure of being a GM.
Nice.
Tough spot for him. So anyway, I just, before we get into THNOs, I just wanted to let everybody know that I've been getting like jabs pretty much from the beginning of the season about like this squirrel mustache that's been sitting on my lip. Well, this squirrel just dropped nuts all over that tree that we call Steve. And last time I checked, I got the W. I've been waiting weeks to make sure that this happened.
Correct. You've been waiting years to make one win over me.
I beat you a few times, I'm sure. So he's going over the stats. He's going over the stats.
You legitimately have not beat me in years now.
We're gonna figure it out. Kirk Cousins. So I could have put in. I only have stats for this one, so I'll have to go back. Maybe open up my old NFL league. CJ Stroud, I still would have won by 30-something points. Now, it was a good start. Like, Thursday Night Football was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, this massive win by my team cost me yet another receiver. Stephon Diggs is now gone for the year. I've lost a lot of talent on wide receivers. Puka was out week 1. I lose Mike Evans. I lose Stephon Diggs. So Uncle Ryan needs to make some trades to get back in the game, folks. But so, like they said, did you win? Yes. What did it cost you? Everything. But it was a good week. That was actually a pretty awesome matchup, and then it just kind of opened up at the end. But that's the beauty of fantasy football. Sometimes squirrel can even find a nut like, or a blind squirrel can find a nut like Ryan. So
nailed it.
Yeah. So, anywho,
nailed it, like he said, Area 35 network.
Yeah, Area 27 racetrack or something like that. So no, that's something else. That's some. We're just kidding. Area 51.
Congratulations, and what are you this season? Are you in contention? Are you?
Man, I'm right at the top.
Are you Ryan and you're last? What are you?
I mean, I'm not right at the top. Somehow Kyle's still just running roughshod on our league, so he might be the realest chance at a three-peat, and we've never had that. So,
Ted, you're one game away from being in second place, and right now you are 8th place in the league. Nick is also 9th.
So we're all clogged up in the middle, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at all the teams I could trade with. I'm like, everyone is still in it. No one's going to want to make a trade right now. So it's getting a little bit tight in the Whistleblowers League. So good week though. Some crazy points. Definitely. Like I said, if you guys had tight ends on your team, which you have to start at least one, you likely scored a touchdown on your team. So nice guarantee this week. Like, you could have had Cade Otton and he helped you out. That's saying something. And I'm sure we have a few THNOs on the list that also didn't help you out, but they're also tight ends. So, ooh, what's that? Finished installing sync icons. That's a me thing right now. Without further ado, let's get into THNO stars. Let's do it. You know what, Ted? You haven't talked. Actually, who? Matt or Ted? Who? Put up your hand, kindly. Okay, Matt, you're going first.
Okay, in true Halloween fashion, a resurrection of the Broncos offense allowed the burly, tight end Adam Trotman to have his 1.3 targets per game blow up considerably with a 16-point fantasy move. So, yeah. Nobody saw that coming for many reasons. The Broncos are super trash, and of anyone who's going to have a game.
I'm not a trout man. I'm a trout man.
Exactly.
All right, let's roll the clip.
In a hurry.
Couple tight ends in this set. Nix shows off the arm strength of a one-handed grab. National Tight Ends Day. Adam Troutman says, "It's my day." Troutman. Play is good for 19 years.
Looking like a modern day Kyle Rudolph on that catch too. Like he looked exactly like him.
Shades of Jim Kleinsasser.
Exactly. It's a third Jim Kleinsasser reference this season I want to mention.
Wow.
What
The
a
deep-
catch, though. That was some serious
sick.
swag. You made that look super smooth.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing is that like George Kittle and Travis Kelce get all the boys together in only Kelce and Kittle type of fashion, and they create a tight end summit. And every year they have a day dedicated to their people. Like you don't have like, oh, it's National Quarterbacks Day or it's like National Kickers Day. They're like, you know what? It's National Tight End Day, guys. Here we go.
And it's become a thing now. Like they got the belt on Sunday night. It's interesting. So that would be a wild time to be around those guys for that little summit. Hey, tight end, you hang around for like a couple of days, you're gonna see some things, I'm sure, because those guys are so zany as it is. It's like it'd be like a goaltender's camp. Like it'd be interesting. There'd be some things talked about.
It'd be a bunch of weirdos at the goaltender camp.
It would be. Yeah, they're all just talking to metal posts.
Yeah, everybody's superstitious of talking to each other, so nobody says anything.
Ted, who's your THNO this week, bud?
Well, you might as well keep it in Denver because I'm going back to Nate Adkins on this one. And I think this is the actual THNO because, well, Trotman and his family and friends and probably a bunch of Broncos fans were starting Trotman for this score because the two starters were out. I think there was a chance Trotman was going to score, but the actual vulture came from Nate Adkins on this one. Yes, he have the whopping 19 yards receiving on the year. I think the big one, obviously, because Trotman would have been like around the 20-point mark had he gotten this touchdown instead of Nate Adkins. So this would have been like just a massive coup for anybody that did start him. Like I said, probably family, friends, and a limited selection of Broncos fans. So it instantly pissed them off when Nate Adkins got this score, I have to think. So this is your actual THNO from Denver.
So everybody's feasting on Trotman, but you chose the Atkins diet for this one.
That's right. Just pure protein, baby.
Here we go.
Williams in it back. Play action. Nix shows the speed. Fires. Caught. Touchdown.
I don't like that announcer. Just saying.
Is this the first time we've gone back-to-back THNOs to the same team in the same week for the same position, though?
The same team, same game. I mean, obviously, same game. We've done, I think, once, but not same position. That's interesting. You got
to be way down the bowels of the depth chart to get back-to-back THNOs.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. I'll hit up the next one. The old 1-1-1, as Steve made popular. Insult to injury. We're talking about Xavier Gipson. Insult to injury. The team still lost to the Patriots. This touchdown helped no one. Ultimately, it didn't even help the Jets. Brees didn't score. Garrett Wilson didn't score. Devontae Adams didn't even score. They throw up the X for Gipson. His name's even spelt wrong. Nobody is winning on this one.
First and goal from the 1. Rodgers near side end zone. It is caught. Gibson, touchdown.
Touchdown. Not good. And they still lost.
Now I'm never not going to be able to hear him say touchdown. Not like that.
Touchdown. It's not good. It's not good for anybody. Even, you know what? Even that announcer didn't help anyone.
Gibson.
Touchdown. Steve, save us, please. Who do you got?
Well, talking about a natural Kyle Rudolph, let's keep the last name in sync there.
Maya Rudolph?
Rudolph. I don't know about you guys, but I actually legitimately forgot that Mason Rudolph played football. He could have been on our Remember That Name segment that have come up beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought the helmet of Myles Garrett destroyed his ability to think, let alone play football. And if that wasn't shocking enough, I can't believe that 1% of people in fantasy leagues actually started him. So this isn't like your true THNO, because it technically helped someone. And like, I would just love to like have data from like, I don't know, maybe there's idiots like us out there that are starting these guys in case they get scored and be like, guys, like they have a segment called like, you be the only one to start this guy.
It's a really long name. They're gonna have to come up with a better name than that.
Yeah. You know, I'm just throwing things out there. So technically he helped someone, but that's like, oh my gosh, Mason Rudolph still plays football, guys.
Would you like to see the clip? Let's roll that clip.
If they have to hold it an extra tick.
Rudolph, good protection, pumps, throws, and it's intercepted! Nowaski with the pick, down at the Titans 23!
I don't even know what that clip was, but it was Mason Rudolph.
I was looking at that and I was like, he's on his 20-yard line. Is he actually going to free? Like, I didn't even look to see what the score was. Is he going to bomb this out there for like a 70-yard touchdown? Like, this is going to be incredible. No, he throws it for a pick. That's perfect, Ryan.
Yeah, I screwed that up big time, but
nope, that was exactly what you should have put on there.
There we go. Like that helped no one, honestly. That was good.
Well, that negatively impacted people right there.
Exactly. You know, like, so you talk about that. I wonder if there is an option where you can find out and see the rosters where these 1% are started. Like just to be able to click on a guy and like you click on 1% and it'll actually bring up like maybe it's like 100.
Jason Schmurdolf.
Yeah. Like it's like 100, and then you can see different team names and stuff. Be like, oh man, such and like you might find out the funniest team name, or find out it's like a an 18 team league or something like that, and you're like, wow, I can't believe this guy got started because of these reasons. I think that'd be cool.
Do you think that whoever started Mason Rudolph, like their fantasy football team name has Mason Rudolph in there somewhere? Like, they're all for fun or whatever. It's like Rudolph and I don't know, some stupid name, but
it'd be like the red nose.
Looking at
Rudolph the Red Zone Reindeer.
Yeah, there you go.
Whoa,
that's good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious because I know there's like 2 quarterback start leagues out there. So, if you have, a big league of like 12 guys and you have to start 2 quarterbacks each, like people are hoarding these guys. But the fact that somebody started him on the road against the Lions, who are a pretty stout defense, like that dude has some, or that lady, whoever it was, has some balls on them for starting Mason Rudolph. And like, I don't know, like their end score was probably like 7 fantasy points or whatever. But the fact that they started Mason Rudolph and knew that Mason Rudolph was going to start for the Titans that week is kudos to that person, whoever you are. Let us know in the chat.
Simply stunning. Yeah, I would love to meet that person and have proof. That'd be great. If you are watching the show,
let's get them on the show.
Yeah, actually, just in the comments now, somebody's posted Mason Rudolph's mom. It was me.
Oh,
well, let's get her on the show.
I think we can make that happen. Let's get into. We're gonna skip remember the name this week so we can have a proper show. Let's get into Sneaky starts.
We're gonna have to do a quick one then at the very end because I got.
Okay, fine. Let's do the show first. Chill out. Steve, you're on a roll, buddy. Fire away.
Well, the Ravens made an acquisition.
Accusation?
There we go. Something of the good Englishing. Yeah. Deontay Johnson. And I was looking at that and I was like, do I put that as a sneaky start? And then I saw that Ryan was sneaky starting Jerry Jeudy. So I thought it can't get any worse for like not actually being sneaky.
Hey,
Hey, shut up. It's not your time to talk yet. Zip it. Deontay Johnson, and for obvious reasons, he only started in 11% of sleeper leagues. Obviously, this is a new offense. He's going to have to get used to it. I'm saying if he is active, because that will be the determining factor whether he's going to play. If he's active, I think you should start him because he is going to get a ton of looks on those short and intermediate routes. I really like him in PPR leagues right now for that reason. I could see his upside of 6 catches for 55 yards in game. not like mind-blowing numbers kind of thing, but if he gets on the field, he's got the skill set to work in that Todd Monken offense. And Lamar isn't afraid to throw him the ball right away. It just depends how quickly up to speed they get. But if he is active, I'm absolutely starting him as a flex play because people won't know what to expect from him in the offense. And he's enough of a pro to kind of just, like Amari Cooper gets traded, instant production as long as he is on the field. So wait right till the last second. If he's active, start him in a flex spot. For the outlook of the year, I actually see his upside maybe being like a tight end or a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 on a consistent basis.
So he basically overtakes Rashad Bateman. Who does he take over?
Well, I don't think he takes over Rashad Bateman. I think instead of Lamar doing a lot of checkdowns to Derrick Henry to Justice Hill, I think use maybe more 3 wide receiver sets. It just gives them that option that they don't have to do the 22 personnel. You can go 3 wide receivers. You can still have 2 backs if you want, or you can do 2 tight ends if you want to do empty set in the back. It just gives them so much more versatility. And if that takes away a catch from Zay and a catch from Bate and maybe 1 catch from the tight ends and 1 catch from the running backs, well, now you got a guy who's getting, 6 targets, 4 catches kind of idea in that 55 to 75 yard range. And you just never know in the end zone, especially those close distance plays on 10 yards or less.
What's his shoe size, though?
No clue. Don't care.
It's probably, as long as it's at least like a half size less than likely, we're good.
Just cut the tip of your shoe off.
But that's my toe. Doesn't matter, man. Doesn't matter.
I like that pick. I think you're right. It's going to be the same thing as Cooper. They're going to have like a handful of routes that he knows that transfer over from that offense to what Baltimore's doing. And it's just going to be like, if he's open, give him the ball, and it's going to be easy for him. And then next week, they're just going to expand on all that stuff. And it's not going to take a guy like that long to learn the playbook.
Could you imagine being stuck in Carolina and you're like, oh my, this is how my career is possibly going to end? Like every game you go and you're like, there's no motivation. And now you're like,
they have to throw to me.
Gosh, I get to play with like a 2-time unanimous MVP. Like I'm so jazzed up to play for a contender or someone who's, can win every single week.
He's going to be jacked to just be not in every play. He'll just be standing and be like, dude, I don't even care if I'm on the drive.
He's going to spend the winter in Baltimore, which might not be as fun, but it's still going to be a hell of a lot. He's going to keep Warm winning. Like, I know we talked about it, like that defense is trash right now, but I still say that offense has got to be one of the scariest in the league. I mean, they could do it through the air. They do it on the ground. I mean, pass catching backs, like they literally have everything. And who on earth wants to stop Derrick Henry when it gets into minus temperatures? Good God.
Yeah. I would take a hit for like a couple $100,000.
Deontay Johnson is used to playing in that division. Like he came from the Steelers. It's not like he's never played in Baltimore when it's cold, or played in Pittsburgh when it's cold, or played in Cleveland when it's cold. Like living in Baltimore for a winter when it's super cold is no different than living in Pittsburgh when it's super cold. And he, like the familiarity of playing those teams all the time. This last week was the first or second divisional game that the Ravens have played. So they've got 2 against Pittsburgh. They still got another one against Cleveland. Still have another one against Cincinnati. What a perfect guy to bring in than somebody who knows how to play against the division. Like that's such a smart pickup.
And that happens so often at the trade deadline too. Like it's just genius.
Yeah.
Maddie, I want to hear your angelic voice.
About Deontay or my own pick?
About your own. Yeah, I mean, whatever, man. If you got a piece to say about Deontay.
Oh, I think Deontay's great in that third kind of role because I think he's shown that he's not a number 1 and he's probably also not a number 2. So this is kind of the ideal state for him. Yeah. Okay. So my sneaky. Are we doing starts or ads?
Starts. We're still doing
starts. Okay. So I'm gonna swap mine from earlier because when I wrote mine, we were just looking at what the hell was happening with Diggs, but now we know what happened with Diggs, and I know what happened with Diggs for my team because I also lost him.
Bad day.
I don't super love the options given Houston's injury problems. We've got Mechie is my pick of those three. Bobby Trees and Xavier, of the three players last week once Diggs went down, or this past week, Mechie's the guy who kind of seemed to get the more targets and step up quickly. But they got some long-term ouchies on that receiver core. So I think Mechie's a guy you could pop in. Probably that 5 to 6 receptions, 60 to 70 yards. Not too far off from Deontay in terms of stats, but they're going to continue to throw the ball, and somebody of those three is going to have to start catching them.
I mean, it's like Carolina all over again. Somebody's got to get the ball.
Carolina, but there's
Carolina, Kansas City. We've seen a few of those with big receiver injuries this year, right? Where you're throwing darts at who's going to take it, and that's who I'm.
Training camps paid off.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with. I mean, Steve already ruined it for me, but whatever. Jerry Jeudy gets a new lease on life as famous Jameis leads the Browns for the rest of 2024. He saw 8 targets and caught 5 for 79 yards. Chargers come to the land, and even though the Chargers are only giving up 163 yards through the air away from home, and with the 20% start rate going into last week, the numbers may rise. I do like his chances this week. I like what's going forward with the Browns. I think conveniently they put in a different quarterback, and hey, things are possible. And how do you not get jacked up for Jameis Winston? That guy is a quote encyclopedia. Did you hear the one? Was it today? He goes, "The sky can't be the limit. People have been on the moon." Like, I got the quote kind of wrong, but basically, like, the guy's just an absolute legend for everything. Like, I want to watch everything Jameis Winston does for the rest of the season because it's gonna be fun. So, Jerry Jeudy, good luck, man. Ted.
Yeah, there very well could be a game where he throws 4 touchdowns and 4 picks. I'm so excited.
Yeah, easily.
I'm going Taysom Hill on this one. So again, he's owned in like 21% of leagues, so it's not like he's not on rosters, but he's only being started in 4%. So Saints draw the Panthers next week. Everybody, we just talked about how bad the Panthers are, but not only are they bad on offense, but they're also bad on D. In fact, it's the worst run D in the league. I know, it says in the positional value that Hill is a tight end, but very obviously, this guy's like just a football player and gets the ball and runs the rock when it comes to the goal line. So Carr's going to be back in the lineup. Obviously, that's going to give them a bit of a boost, but they're going to want to lessen the load on him a little bit. I mean, he's back. You're not going to just throw him in there. He's not going to hopefully throw it 45 times a game or some shit like that. But I think we're going to see a heavy dose, especially around the red zone, at Taysom Hill in this one. So it's strictly a game start on this one based on the competition. But if you got a chance to, probably Taysom Hill is the guy that I'm putting in there for a flex spot.
Can I ask some fantasy advice?
Yeah.
Okay. I can start 2 tight ends out of these 3. I got Njoku, who I think at this point you have to start.
Yep.
Got Hawkinson hopefully coming back from the injury, but he's missed the entire season. And I have Taysom Hill. I think the 2 I have ready to roll are Hawkinson and Njoku, but I don't super love starting a dude on his first game back for an offense that suddenly started to have some question marks after losing a all-pro left tackle in my Minnesota Vikings.
So I think the real easy answer to this is that you start Hawkinson and Njoku, and then you bench your quarterback and put in Taysom Hill.
I'd love to bench my quarterback, but this is a possibility.
I'm just going to say this, Matt. You're 7-1.
I am 7-1. I could do whatever I want.
mean, you could.
I'm a grown man.
You can afford
I'm
to
40.
have,
I'm 40. I'm a man.
Yeah, you can afford to have one less. Like, I mean, you'll be fine. Do whatever the heck you want. You're gonna be okay.
No, but that's a question. I think that's a real question.
I think he scores this week, and I'm of the belief that I don't usually play guys back their first game back from injury.
Yeah,
I always seem to just wait a week. That's usually 50-50, but obviously if I didn't have a backup to Hawkinson would be in the game. If you have a viable starter and a tight end, you can use him. It's probably not a bad play to go for it, but I mean, I don't know if this applies 100% to Hawkinson. That might be the exception to the rule for a guy you want to start over.
Man, he's all over the
what?
place for points.
I'm gonna deviate on that one. Njoku's the safe pick. You have to start him, but
sorry, we know that, right?
Taysom Hill has really had one game. He's got. Well, I'm guessing these are inactives. I don't really follow the Saints all that much. He's been inactive for 4 games, and he's started 4 games.
Who's injured?
Okay, sure, it's against the Panthers, but if you have a young rookie quarterback who's struggling a lot in Spencer Radler, and you can put up mega points on the Panthers to bring his confidence out, I don't think you swap him out for Taysom Hill. I think that if they are bringing Hawkinson back, he is ready to go, and I think you start Hawkinson.
All right. I just don't want to hear Taysom Hill's name again anytime soon.
But you know what? Here's the flip side of this. Last time Ted called a Taysom Hill game was his 14-point Taysom Hill game. So just like wearing the Dodgers hat and hoping, putting some negative juju on them, maybe he's got a little witchcraft under that cap of his.
I don't like it at all. This scares me.
Yeah, I don't like witchcraft either, but I'm not the one doing it. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Speaking of starts, Matt, did you get yours already?
I did. It's Taysom Hill and David Njoku.
David, okay.
And TJ Hawkinson. I'm benching Kyler.
Okay. Did you have a sneaky start, though?
I did. I already did mine. John Mechie.
All right. Where am I looking?
I switched. I flippy floppied because of Diggs getting.
Oh, I gotcha. I see what you're saying. Okay, let's get into sleepy ads. Matt, let's stick with you.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I swapped mine around. This is another opportunity for a receiver who is taking advantage of Christian Kirk being out for the year in Parker Washington. The Jags are sus at best, but once in a while they have that 450-yard game, and I think this is the week for it. They got to throw the ball to somebody, and if you need to think about the rest of the year. The thing with Jags is they could turn it up. They could have that 3 or 4 game streak of suddenly the defense starts dominating again. They can put touchdowns. 16-team, 12-team league. You need some depth. Take a stab at Parker Washington.
I like it. Steve?
I kind of forgot who I was gonna do. Let me just look at. Oh right. Ugh, I hate myself for this. I feel dirty for this one. Yeah. Calvin Austin. Right. I hate to suggest supporting the Steelers, but last night Austin's monster game on Monday Night Football, I think, is what they are going to start implementing in Pittsburgh. They got Russ back. He's starting to feel like he can cook and be less awkward in interviews.
Does he say let's steal now? What does he say?
No, what was the word he was saying? He connected. He said connected 8 times in their interview. How did you guys do this? You know what, Melissa? We're just connected. Yeah. Okay. So Calvin Austin's big game. Him and I are connected. That was his catchphrase word. He's so annoying. He belongs on a Steeler. I think this is something that you can expect out of Calvin Austin going forward. Pittsburgh's on a bye this week, so this is actually, in my opinion, the perfect time to pick up a guy like this, because people won't be adding him, in those bye weeks to start them. You have some wide receiver troubles like Ryan. You got a bunch of injuries. You're probably not going to the guy who's not going to be able to start for you. So if you have an extra spot on your bench, adding a guy like Calvin Austin right now, if you don't need him to start, you get to reap the rewards for the rest of the season. He's owned in just 2% of sleeper leagues, so he's out there waiting for you to follow your favorite advisor's advice.
You, Matt. Dang it. We're gonna get this right one of these times. We're gonna do it. Just practice. We'll just practice. Ted, who are you adding sleepily?
I'm going to go with 33% owned Matt Stafford.
Ooh.
Bye weeks are coming. I know this is earlier in the year. This would have been a whack sort of sleepy ad. I think we've really been harping on trying to get handcuffs and letting guys sit on your roster to see if stuff gets exposed. Maybe loading up on, maybe some injured players that look to be coming back, or maybe we might be looking at guys like high potential wide receivers like Pearsall, for example. But this week's a little bit different. So obviously, crazy bye weeks are on the horizon. I think Bye-Mageddon is soon, a couple weeks from now, a few weeks from now. There's going to be a ton of guys looking for backup quarterbacks, and if you're looking to shore up that spot, I think there's no time better than to look right now. So if you go ahead and just plunk a guy like Matt Stafford on your roster, pull him off the scrap heap now while it's early, you're not going to have to bid on him. He's finally healthy. I think the Rams are looking healthy. They're getting everybody back. That line's looking a lot better. Like, there's no sense having to go at a guy like this 2 weeks from now after he's had a couple of good games. Yeah, you might not need him. Yeah, you got a quarterback that's playing and starting for you right now. But if you can just add this guy, keep him on your roster now, have him for a bye week, use him, great. Past the bye week, it's probably, a dude you want to keep on your roster post bye as well, right? I mean, God forbid your starter goes down. I think there's a lot worse guys that you could have on your roster than a Matt Stafford as your backup quarterback. Yeah, it didn't work for me 1 year. That doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. Just don't start him if your other guy's healthy.
I mean, it's a good offense as a whole. So,
yeah.
You know what? When I saw Stafford in the docs, I was like, oh, what a cop-out. And then I started looking at his actual numbers because I was like, how has he only started or like owned in such a small amount of leagues? He's been bad this year. Like, he hasn't been mediocre. He's legitimately been bad. He's put up 3 games of less than 6 points.
Whoa.
He's put up a 15 spot, a 12, a 13. Last week against Minnesota was literally his only good week of the season. This would be mega impressive if Matt Stafford was able to turn this around, because he's actually got a really tough last end of his schedule. So if he happens to, ball out against Miami or New England and Philly, Buffalo, San Fran, the Jets, good for Ted for telling you to pick him up right now.
Yeah, so Matt, it's very clear that he's not the guy that's going to be able to carry offenses like he did probably 2-3 years ago, right? And I think that this team has been so banged up at the receiver corps for the first half of the season that he's not able to do that. Yeah. But the idea here is that you're sort of banking on the fact that he can be a complementary piece with a really steady receiving core, right? So thus get him now while you can get him for free versus having to bid on him if he does pop.
Yeah, like if you can get a steady stream of close to 20 points with him, with what he's putting up right now, that's a huge win to have as your backup quarterback.
Well, I think they've got that trust in what made them popular last year, right? How you've got Puka and Cooper Kupp's still there. I mean, all signs point to, the way they even played this past week, if they even get remotely close to that, like, they're going to be a team that's going to start scoring points again, and the ball's going to be coming from his hands. So
now, Ted, a follow-up question to that. If there's been a lot of rumors about, Cooper Kupp, he's getting to that over 30-year range, I would be shocked if he doesn't get traded and they'll get a fairly good return for him. Do you still hedge your bet on Stafford if Kupp is not there and he has, Puka and Jordan Whittington in the run game and stuff like that?
I do. Yeah. I mean, obviously this is a guy and I'm saying now what you can get him for the cheap, right? If you're going to have to pay a bunch of money and then you start seeing stuff like, Cooper come off the board, then it's going to be a disaster, obviously. Right. So again, getting him on the cheap, I think, is the big win here. And I think it's still, LA has shown even last year that they can have, this offense humming along if it's just one stud that's out there, right? And Cup might get traded. That might be a thing that happens, but they also could be a team that makes a trade for another receiver too, right? So,
but they played good ball without Cooper Cup.
Who knows, right? I mean, that's why I just think there's so many open doors that could lead to positive roads to Matt Stafford. Even though losing a Cooper Cup would be it would be a terrible thing, but Whittington, for example, is that a guy that deserves more snaps in this offense? Could he get a larger share? Could he do something down the road for this team? And, again, this team has really shown with developing its receivers that they can.
Nice. Speaking of that also same team, here's my sleepy ad. So I like the bye week against the Jets in week 12. I think they're going to do really, really well. Just kidding. Demarcus Robinson. I told you guys to start him a few weeks ago, and with Seattle, Miami, and New England coming up, his snap share staying high. He is now a lower ranked target with Puka and Cup coming back, but he fits into the mushy middle where he won't be defended as much based on those other targets being used. It's sleepy for sure. That's the point. So again, kind of going into what Ted was talking about, what you guys are getting to with all the trade talk. They've got a lot of targets around there, and snap share, I was going through a bunch of their players, it's fairly high with their receivers. So, I mean, somebody's going to get an opportunity, and why not be Robinson? I'm not saying start him yet, but again, he may be a guy that benefits if that trade comes sooner than later. So, and it looks like it feels like we're going to be in, because when is the trade deadline? Is it a couple weeks from now? The actual
middle of November, I think.
Yeah. So like a couple weeks ago, or was it like a month ago, when everyone went ham on the actual trades? I think we're going to probably see that maybe one more time before things get crazy, because I think they're realizing the longer you can have them in an offense, whichever player you're picking up in the actual NFL, it's going to pay off. So
it's actually a week away. Next Tuesday is the trade deadline.
Holy crap. Okay. So there you go. So
have we gone a week without you picking a Ram for something, Ryan? Specifically a Rams receiver?
I'd have to check the doc, but it's been a minute. Yeah.
You're at least 80%, I think.
Well, I think there was that one week where he picked Sean McVay and he said wide receiver Sean McVay.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had that button. The Sean McVay mention alert there.
Thank you, Steve. I've been sitting on that for about 5 minutes, so appreciate it.
That wasn't even planned, folks. I just know he's got a man crush.
I mean, what's not to like, really? By the way, the fatheads are still being made, and I've got that coming anytime now. So,
you got a Sean McVay fathead made up?
Yeah, it's custom, so it cost me a lot extra, but whatever.
It's going on a ceiling. It's used for popcorn ceilings.
I got a big stalactite too. So,
did your wife want this, or was she like semi?
We're trying some new things. So
okay.
like me sleeping on the couch as soon as I made that purchase. So
or that comment.
Yeah, that's
Christine's just as happy because he's up on the ceiling and you're on the couch.
Well,
yeah. You better put it up.
It's a pretty good trade for her.
He's a good-looking dude. What can I say? He's a good-looking dude. Can't hold him back. Do you guys want to get into a little bit of?
What is your name?
My name is.
You know my name. It doesn't matter what your name is.
Love it. Sounds like there's a few people chomping at the bit to get their mentions in. So why not? Are we just doing one to finish off? I think so. Ted.
Oh, one. Okay, I'll pick one.
Look at Mr. Prepared over here.
Yeah.
Jeez. Last guy to show up, first guy to be ready. So
do you guys remember Paul Kruger?
Yep.
He was only scary good that one season when he had a monster season in Cleveland. He was like a secondary role player on that defense in Baltimore. He was definitely an AFC North dude for a little bit. Obviously ended up getting too many snaps while he was in Cleveland. But like I said, had that one scary season when he was slashing through defenses and he was an absolute nightmare for quarterbacks. Paul Kruger.
I think that was the year after. Was that the year after the Ravens won the Super Bowl that he went to Cleveland?
Yeah.
I can't remember what year he went there.
So yeah, he came over to Cleveland in 2013. So Kruger played 16 games in 2011 and 2012, with Baltimore having like a bigger role, and then got himself, I want to say, 9 sacks in his last season in Baltimore. So he was pretty good. Then had that first year in Cleveland, was dinged up a little bit, got 4.5 before bagging 11 in the very next season.
I like it.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty fun player to watch, but you couldn't play all the snaps.
Yeah, he had that kind of like relentless motor of like a Max Crosby kind of. He was the PC brand of Max Crosby.
That's probably the perfect way to put it. And not quite the psychopath.
No, well, not that we know of, anyways.
Yeah, fair.
I'm looking at his Pro Football Reference picture, and he's got some scary vibes going on. So check that out.
Yeah,
Very scary.
Matt.
I had one, but I'm changing it. Remember that name to a current player, Jason Myers, a kicker for the Seattle Seahawks. Just to keep the theme going. He is currently a kicker for the Seahawks, but for the theme. There we go.
Nailed it.
Oh man, that's good. That's
Often
good.
splits the ups, right?
I'm gonna go next because I don't have much to talk about. This is just a cool name. He's currently still playing. His stats aren't exactly bonkers, but Barcavius Mingo, current linebacker. He has 12.5 career sacks. He has a Super Bowl to his name, and 179 career solo tackles. Barcavius Mingo. Maybe the Mingo tackled you, baby. So that's
Definitely
what I got.
a member of the all-name team.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, I mean, if you guys have extra ones, by all means, Steve.
Well, you know what? I didn't have anything prepared, but since I'm a team player and I'm not brain dead like Ryan, there was a theme going on there. So I'm also going to pick a current player. He plays for the.
Wait, what did I miss here?
He plays for the Washington Commanders, and do you remember the nickname Scary? Terry McLaurin? Scary Terry? My pick.
I mean, I was thinking, Ryan, that maybe you could have chosen maybe Frank Gore or Javon Curse or Boo Williams.
I see.
There were so many picks, bud.
Barcavius is great.
No. He's too.
Sure, that's a scary name. Fair, yeah.
I could find a scary name. Shut up.
I was like, you're like, I'm going to pick a current player. And I was like, oh, man, did he seriously just pick the only player that I could think of that fit a Halloween mold here? No, he went completely off the board.
Okay, I'm going to find one. Just calm down.
It just gave you 2 free ones.
I'm just losing
John Frankenstein. You wouldn't know him. He was a practice roster guy. 1890s.
Good reference.
Philadelphia Eagles in Transylvania.
Yeah. You probably didn't hear about him. Myles Garrett isn't a scary name. Dang it. I got nothing.
Okay, well, there was also a guy who took the NFL by storm one year, rushing champion. They called him Casper.
Oh, yeah.
Ted, do you know which player I'm thinking of?
Is that the Chargers running back from way back in the day?
No, we're talking Peyton Hillis here. Casper
right.
Peyton Hillis. No. Okay, cool.
Good one.
It's a tough one.
Madden cover. What year was that?
Ooh, I got one.
2013.
There's also
2013?
Dave Casper, if you want
I
to know
don't
the
think it
one,
was
Ryan.
13.
Was there Dave Casper?
Yeah.
I got a good
I
one.
was just thinking white running backs.
Named the Ghost from the Oakland Raiders. Actually, like, I think maybe Hall of Famer.
I got a good one, guys.
Yes, Hall of Famer.
Too bad
Okay,
I'm
let's hear it.
not a Raiders fan.
I got a good one.
Okay.
DeAndre Goolsby.
Goldstein?
Goolsby, not Goldstein.
Great job.
Ghouls.
What was the theme for that one, Ryan?
Christmas characters. Former accountants and insurance salesmen turned NFL players. Am I close?
Yes.
Nice. Goolsby. Ted Goolsby. No, DJ Killings. That's a cool one. DJ Killings. That's going to be my stage name, DJ Killings. It's not going to go over very well. That's cool.
That had to be like a Robbie Anderson, like made up, like changed his passport name, like Killings, just like chosen. Like
Ron Mexico. We need to do countries and stuff next week. I've already said Ron Mexico, so you can't pick it.
Right.
Ron Mexico. That was good. Guys, this was a lot of fun at my expense usually. But I'm very excited. Matt, congratulations on being 7-1 and having tough decisions like should I start Taysom Hill or not? For someone that's 7-1, that's a really interesting question to ask. But
it's the little things, that's how you get to 7-1.
I'll just throw one more name out there for you. Hannibal Navis.
Ooh.
It's great.
Ooh. That's good. That's good.
Quick Google search. Fix that one.
So that the actual NFL trade deadline is on Tuesday, you said?
See.
Okay. And when is normal trade deadlines for fantasy are still a few weeks away, so that's good.
Oh, we wouldn't know.
I don't know.
You got the power.
I don't know. I'd have to look. I'll have to check it. I'm not interested right now, but I'm sure it's soon. So good luck everyone in this week of fantasy. We're in week 9, which I'm not gonna lie, I can't believe we're 9 weeks or about to be 9 weeks into the NFL season. It just sneaks up on you. Next thing you know, we're going to be talking about worst halftime performances on Thanksgiving, like Creed or Nickelback. Whoa. Last year?
Creed was not the worst halftime show. Don't even.
Who's that guy? Who's that fake white rapper guy?
The fake one?
The new fake white rapper guy that apparently is popular on like pop radio. He's got like
Island Boys. Nailed it.
You're talking about Machine Gun Kelly?
No, he's playing the Munich game though, and
he's not a rapper anymore. He's a punk singer.
He's a weenie. That's what he is.
Yeah, Machine Gun Kelly playing the Munich game. Not good. No, what's the name of what's that awful wannabe white rapper guy that sings pop music?
Are we still live?
Talking about Justice Bieber?
Freddie Mercury.
Not Freddie. Okay, we're losing it. Anyway, he was a halftime show in Detroit last year. This guy, I'll find it. He's awful. That's what I'm trying to say.
Was it Eminem?
Jack Harlow,
rapper in Detroit.
Jack Harlow. He was awful. Awful. That probably was the worst. You guys should go and YouTube that. It is cringeworthy.
Is it worse than the Black Eyed Peas at the Grey Cup?
Oh man, I would take Black Eyed Peas. I would take that every day of the week. I would take that every day of the week. The Jack Harlow thing was really awkward.
Great year.
Great. Oh my gosh. All right. Off the rails. Have a happy Halloween and good luck with your spooky fantasy picks. On behalf of Ted, Matt, Steve, I'm Ryan. This is That Helps No One Fantasy Cast on Area 51 Sports Network. Go Dodgers. Go Dodgers, go.